Hello, welcome to the Tejedoraknits. My name is Gladys. I am a knitter based out of Southern Nevada here in the United States. And welcome to my little corner of the internet where we talk about knitting, yarn, and everything in between. So, Flock Fiber Festival has happened. And I am here to talk all about it. I finally experienced my very first flock. And long story short, it was spectacular. It was incredible. It was wonderful. I had the absolute best time. So of course I wanted to tell you guys all about it. So let's get started. So as you can see, I have my flock tote full of yarn and lots of other goodies that I have here surrounding me. But flock above all was just a beautiful connection with community. I got to meet so many lovely people and I want to kind of share my experience with all of you guys. I did take some video clips throughout, so I'll be inserting them, have a few pictures as well. So it's not necessarily a very detailed vlog on the event itself, but rather my perspective, my experience as someone experiencing their very first fiber festival. So I wanted to kind of break this up into a few categories. One, the community aspect of it. I wanted to talk about that for a couple of minutes because that was my main takeaway. It was the people. It was the people who made it such a beautiful experience. Then I did go to Bainbridge Island to visit the yarn shops, specifically Shop La Mercerie, which is the main organizer and host of Flock Fiber Festival. So I'll talk about my experience at Bainbridge. And then the marketplace. I'll talk about all of the things that I ended up purchasing from the marketplace, and I will be including the cost of everything. I wanted to provide that extra transparency. I will say I spent a lot of money. I went over my budget. Not crazy so, but I think it'll be fun to kind of discuss the cost of everything. And I guess wrap it up with my final thoughts and, talk about other aspects of the vendors and the festivals that I didn't necessarily end up purchasing from. So first, let's get started with the community aspect of it. I did attend Flock with my best friend. We have been friends for 7 years at this point. So it was a little girls' weekend for us. We both knit, so of course it was a great opportunity. So Mariah was absolutely lovely and we had an absolutely wonderful time. Also, Gina, my dear friend Gina, we met through here. She left a comment on my flock, preparing for flock video, and we connected and we met in real life. Oh my God, Gina is so beautiful, so kind, so wonderful. I cannot say how much joy she added to this weekend. So I'll make sure to list up any pictures that we have taken together. What a gift it was to make another friend that just gets it. They just get it. We can talk about, knitting and fiber crafts with our friends or other family members and things like that. But unless they're a fellow knitter, they sometimes don't understand the low-key obsession that we might have with this craft. So it was just such a joy to be able to spend time with Gina. She is up late knitting on Instagram. So I'll make sure to have that linked below. And I definitely got to either see or say hi to or meet and chat with a few different knitting podcasters, whatever term we want to use for them. I think the very first person that I met was Maddie from Buy a Thread Knits. Yes. So I met her when I was actually in line for the festival. So my friend and I, Mariah, we attended both on Saturday and Sunday. We weren't planning on going on Sunday because I had to fly back out on Sunday, but we ended up going for a little bit in the morning. But our main day was Saturday. So festival started at 10. We arrived at 9:30 and the line to get in was crazy. It was crazy. That was probably the only moment that I started to feel a little taken aback, a little bit overwhelmed, just because I wasn't exactly sure what to expect. But it was definitely very, very, very busy. So for me, that was okay, considering a few different things. One, I had a plan. I had a very specific plan to guide myself, and I'm so, so glad I did. If you want to know more what my plan was versus what I actually ended up doing, you can always check out my preparing for flock video. I'll have it linked down below. 2, I work in healthcare, so I'm used to chaotic hospitals and lots of people and lots of things going on at the same time. And 3rd, I live in Vegas. Anytime that I get close to the Strip, there's concerts, there's crowds, there's shows, there's people, there's lots and lots and lots of people. So for me, I don't personally mind large, overwhelming events. They're not my preference, but again, I don't mind them. But I know that that's not the case for most people. So I know a lot of people did say that they were feeling, a bit overwhelmed on Saturday. So anyways, back to the story. I met Maddie while we were in line to check in, and she had her cute little stitch markers. So these were from Maddie, and she has like her handle kind of printed there on the top, and they're just so cute. Maddie is just such a breath of fresh air. She's so funny and kind and just so cute. I loved getting to meet her, and her little stitch markers were so cute. And another highlight, I also met Yeji from Ann Midco. This was a little bit further at the day. I want to say probably in the later part of the evening when I got to meet Yeji, and we got to chat a little bit. Her, Gina, and I, we all have kids, and we just got to chat for a little bit, and it was just so, so nice. Yeji is just so thoughtful. She is such a thoughtful and kind person. Well, everybody that I met was just so kind, but Yeji I would describe her as very thoughtful. So that was just a beautiful interaction, getting to meet her. And she also had these cute little stitch markers. Hers have like little stickers with her handle on there. I'll see if I can focus it. So she had like these cute little sticker stitch markers. My favorite is little cherry. I think it's over here. This one has like a little cherry in there. So these are so cute. I'm so ready to put these on my projects. I've been holding out until after filming this video, which today is Tuesday. Flock was just this past weekend, so I'm hoping that I can get this video filmed and uploaded in a timely manner. But yeah, I got to meet them. And with Yeji, I also got to meet June. I'll leave her Instagram handle down below. I believe it's June Knits. And she gave me all these adorable little stickers. They're all so cute, but this one is definitely my favorite. It says, "Go away." This is going to be, I'm going to put this on my work water bottle. So she had all these adorable little stickers. Like this one says, "Get it, girl." So they were just all so lovely to meet. I definitely also got to kind of either see or just quickly say hi to a few other people. I saw the twins from those twins who knit. Is it Rachel and Jessica, I believe are their names? It was so cute. I was at the booth at the Wandering Flock, and a girl behind me just said, "Excuse me," to kind of move around. And I turned around and I was like, "You're one of the twins from those twins who knit." They were so pretty, so cute. I'm trying to think, like, I met so many different people that my mind is starting to kind of blank on the names now. But I saw Rachel from, I think Rachel is knitting, and I'll talk a little bit more about people, as they come to my mind. But being able to, I also made some new friends on the stairs where we all sat and had some lunch together. So overall, the people were absolutely wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. The community aspect of it. This is my first time experiencing this, having, other people to knit with in person, because even though my best friend and I both knit, we don't live in the same state. So we don't get to do it together in person a lot of the time. So just having the community was so, so nice. So moving on, let's move over to the Bainbridge experience. So when I say we, I'm just referring to Mariah and I, my friend. So I'll just keep on using we. We went to Bainbridge on Friday, and we had the plan of course, going to the yarn shops, getting some food, but then we also had a couple other activities. So first of all, La Mercerie. We had to go to La Mercerie. I had a gift card from La Mercerie that my sister had kindly gifted me, so I wanted to make sure to put that to good use. So first thing that I purchased, that I added to my basket, was the La Mercerie Bainbridge Island little commemorative tote, or like not a tote, like little bag, project bag, I think. I believe that they developed these for the Puget Sound LYS tour, if I'm not mistaken. But they definitely had a good stock of these. So I just thought that this was like a really beautiful memento of my time in Seattle and in Bainbridge Island. So I thought this was really cute, and I picked it up. This cost me $16. and I got 2 sweater quantities of yarn from La Mercerie. So here is the very first one. So I wanted to pick up some fingering weight yarn to pair with this mohair that I already have in stash. So the mohair that I already had was Dusty Violet from Knitting for Olive. And I put a couple strands of the yarn on a little card to try and find like a good color pairing. And I ended up settling with this one. This is from Bishi Bouche. It is their Petite Lamb's Wool. So this is a fingering weight yarn, and the color is called Light Pink Violet. So this is a non-super wash. It's definitely has more of a grippier, toothy feel. I'm going to try and not use the word rustic because I don't think that's the best description for rougher wools, but this is slightly a bit rougher. It is a woolen spun. This is going to be my first time working with woolen spun, so I'm actually quite excited. I feel like they'll make like a nice little marl, these two together. And I'm thinking of making like a nice lacy sweater. So I have decided on the Lyrebird cardigan by Marzena Kolaczek. I was kind of debating between that and the Kathy cardigan by Rebecca Clow, but I'm going to do the Lyrebird. So I ended up picking 200 grams of this yarn. Now the price for this one, each ball retails for $14 each. So a little bit pricier for a commercial yarn, but nevertheless, I'm really, really excited to work with this yarn. And then I picked up a second sweater quantity. And this is I want to make the Kerr sweater by Rebecca Clow. And I want to stick it and turn it into a full zippered sweater cardigan. The recommended yarn is Ulysse by Durham Natura. And that is what I ended up going for. So for the color, I ended up selecting this really dark, beautiful Merlot. The color is called Merlot. So it is a nice, beautiful burgundy. I wanted a more of like a neutral type tone that would just be like a good workhorse sweater. And I think this yarn will be perfect for it. Similarly to the previous one, this is also a woolen spun yarn. So it is definitely airy and bouncy. And it is not silky, but it has like the tiny, I think it's a yarn that will hold up really well and won't pill as much as a silkier yarn. So the contrast color that I want to use for the sweater is this one. This is called Argyle. So kind of like pairing, I think it has like a good amount of contrast, the lighter pink with the dark Merlot. So I ended up getting 2 balls of the contrast color, so 100 grams. And I ended up getting 5 balls for the main color. So that is the recommended amount for myself. Now this one retails for $11 each. So those were the 2 main sweater quantities that I picked up at La Mercerie. And I ended up picking up one last little thing at La Mercerie. I got these beautiful little buttons. They have like blue little flowers on them. I think they're really cute. And they just have like that shell back. So I picked up enough for a cardigan that I want to make in the winter time. And it was nice that you can buy them per button individually instead of having to buy a whole card. So I thought that was really nice. So those were the 4 things that I purchased at La Mercerie. I also did a lot of market research, as I'm going to call it, at La Mercerie. I paid a lot of attention to all the different yarns that they had in stock. So particularly the ones that stand out to me, I got to see Alice, which is the newest yarn from Durham Natura, which is a wool linen blend. I really liked that. That was a really nice yarn. All of their fluff was really nice and soft. I saw the Fiber Spates by Cumulus, or Cumulus by Fiber Spates. I saw the Bernice from Durham Natura was also really soft. The mohair from Bishi Bouche, especially their thick mohair, was so cool. I loved that. So I hope I can get, one day I'll be able to make a sweater with that yarn. But I kind of took some snapshots of different colors and things, you know, just to keep in my files to see if eventually I can get around to purchasing more of the yarn from La Mercerie. I also got to see the famous Antigone, which is a really popular summer yarn, which is 100% linen from Durham Natura. So it was just a really nice experience. La Mercerie was a bit busy. Most of the people that were there were also going to be attending flocks. So overall, it was a really nice experience. La Mercerie is a beautiful yarn shop. I wish I had a yarn shop like that near me. So moving on, we were heading over to the Lamb & Kid afterward. And on the way, I saw this interesting rug store, and we kind of stepped in, and I found this beautiful they sold it to me as a towel, but this beautiful towel for my mother, however, she says it's a shawl. She's going to use it as a shawl. So I found this beautiful shawl for my mother made out of woven Turkish cotton. So it's just white and blue with a pretty little diamond pattern on there. So I got that for my mother and she really liked it. So that was a win. That is what I got for her. And I believe this retailed for $25, I believe, which I thought was a really fair price. And it has like the little tassels here at the bottom. And then we continued on over to the Lamb & Kid. So very different vibe, as a lot of people have mentioned. La Mercerie is definitely more muted, more catered to commercial yarns, versus the Lamb & Kid has more bright colors. It has just like a more like a funkier, cooler type of vibe with the dark walls and the bright yarns. And they have more so their line of yarns, hand-dyed yarns, as opposed to commercial. I think they might have a couple commercial. I know they had some Spin Cycle, which I did take a look at, but more so their specific yarn brand. So my goal for the Lamb & Kid, I wanted to find a yarn to match this skein that I have had in my stash for some time. This is from Salty Blonde Fine Fibers. It's Rocky Mountain High Sport Weight, so it's like a blue-green variegated, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I decided I wanted to make the Velvet Mirror Cowl by Andrea Mowry, and I wanted to find a matching Sari to go with it. So this is Birdie. This is the Sari Alpaca Lace from the Lamb & Kid. So there we go. And it is a like blue, but with green undertones. I think it pairs beautifully. Again, I took a little strand of the yarn on a little card, and as soon as I match this yarn, I lost my card somewhere. So it served its purpose. But I will be using these to make the Velvet Mirror Cowl by Andrea Mowry. This is the only thing I purchased at the Lamb & Kid. I specifically went in looking for this skein, and it delivered. So that was really nice. After we did the yarn shopping, we decided to go over to the Blodel Reserve, or Blodel Reserve. It is a nature reserve, some beautiful gardens, beautiful forest type over in the Bainbridge Island. It was a little bit further away from like the downtown area where all these shops were at. So you definitely need a vehicle. We did have my friend's car with us, so it was easy for us to get around in that aspect. But it was just a really nice, peaceful nature, trees. Oh my God, the trees. The weather was so beautiful in Seattle. So much trees, so many trees, so much water. Just the weather was perfect. When I flew back into Vegas, I was greeted with blistering 108-degree heat. So I enjoyed every second of that cold, fresh Seattle air. It was incredible. So the reserve was beautiful. I think it's a really nice activity if you have the means of getting there, if you ever go to Bainbridge. And then after that, we had lunch at Bassa, which is a Vietnamese style restaurant, pretty close to Shop La Mercerie. So overall, Bainbridge was a beautiful experience. And then we headed back and prepared for the festival the next day. Okay, so main day was Saturday for the Flock Fiber Festival Marketplace. So I purchased quite a bit. I had a wonderful time. I will definitely say having that plan was chef's kiss. It worked out quite well. Of course, I purchased more things that were not on the plan, but I think it definitely helped me stay focused because there were just a lot of vendors and there was a lot going on and a lot to choose from. So if you are going to your first fiber festival, highly recommend having some sort of a plan. So first I'm going to start with a couple of gifts that I purchased for my son and for my dad. And then I'll move over into notions and then finally end with all the beautiful yarn. So I'll start with the things that I purchased for my son. This is little Petunia. She's a little felted sheep. She has a little tail and her little legs. And she's green. So this is a little felted sheep from Wee Woolly's Fiber Art. So I went in with a plan of getting some figurines for my son. He loves stuffed animals. He loves things like this. So he said that I could name it, and I named her Petunia. So this is the very first one that I got, and this was $25. So I think she is so cute. And this is the second little guy that I got. So he is an alpaca wearing a beanie. He's so cute. And he has little spaces for his ears. He has little paws down here. He does not yet have a name. My son will be naming this one, and he hasn't decided on a name yet. But he is from Happy Hounds Alpaca Ranch. He's made with alpaca fiber, handmade with his little knit hat. And this guy cost me $28. So now he has his little fiber friends. I think they are so cute. So this is what I got for my son. And then I picked up something for my dad. I went to Wool & Co. and this is one of the things that I picked up. I got him their cooling lanolin infused balm. So it's like an arnica balm with a few different extracts, lanolin. It smells really nice. My dad already dug into it. My dad really likes balms like this for his hands and his joints and things like that. So, so far he has liked it. The balm cost me a total of $14. And while I was at Wool & Co., I also picked up another thing from them. They have like this little mix and match bar soap bar. So they can function as body soaps, as laundry soaps, as wool wash. So pretty versatile. And they had like little slivers and you could pick 5 different scents and, you know, put them into a little baggie. So they all smell really lovely. Like I have here the sweet basil and aloe. I have the passion fruit. I have peony blossom, tobacco and bay leaf, and sandalwood and vanilla. They all smell absolutely delicious. I love these. I'm debating, like, do I want them for my body? Do I want them for my knits? We'll see. But these cost $10, so pretty much $2 per piece. So I actually really like the products from Wool & Co. That was a really good experience. And now we segue into more notions that I purchased. The very first thing that I went to purchase when I arrived at the marketplace was from Denim and Rain, and it was their little critters stitch markers. So they had this little collection with, this is like a little alpaca. This one is a yak. Let me try and, this guy is a little yak. And then it has a sheep over here. And this last one over here is a little ball of yarn. So this is the only set that included all 3 critters. A lot of them had like the single critter and then a few more like smaller stitch markers, but I really wanted these little critters. I think they're so cute. I plan on using them more so as progress keepers. But these little dudes were pricey. This was $60. So yeah, they will be around for a very long time, I hope. So yeah, this is the very first thing that I purchased because she did mention that they were in very limited quantities and I wanted to get my hands on these. So after this, I kind of chilled and just kind of took my time after this. But yeah, these were the big stitch markers that I purchased. I also got another little set of tiny stitch markers. These are from Fiber and Flame. These are tiny little glass stitch markers, or just like little circles. Hopefully that's focusing. And they had like some pre-made sets, but they also had like a build your own set. You could choose whichever 4 little markers you wanted. And I ended up picking a large one and then 3 little small ones in like this pinky purple palette. So you could pick out your 4 stitch markers for $13. So I think these are, and I really like sometimes the balance of simple stitch markers with fancier ones. So in total, I have a good amount of stitch markers. Then I have a couple more notions. One, was not really on my radar, but this is from Made by Haley Bailey. It is the Whip Work in Progress Whipped Hand Cream. And she had, you know, the little open jars so that we can smell them and try them out. This is absolutely lovely. The smell was beautiful. This is her Moonflower Vine scent, which has pear, agave, violet, cherry blossom, marine sandalwood, leather, cardamom, and cedar. I love all these things. I like a good mix of like woody, leathery, grounding, earthy scents with a little bit more of that floral undertone, so, or like overtone. But I really like this, and this is going to be my very special little hand balm, especially during in the winter times, in the wintertime. So this cost me $16. And I have one more little notion to show. I went to Textile Divisions, which is a little vintage, was a vintage button booth, and she had tons and tons and tons and tons of cards of buttons. So I tried to just not get overwhelmed, not to like, because I could have spent like an hour just sifting through buttons, but I ended up trying not to overthink things too much, and I got 3 cards of buttons. So I have these brown ones that these, it says it's vintage Bakelite. Is that correct? Vintage Bakelite, I think it says. So these little brown ones, I'm making a brown cardigan for the fall. So I'm hoping that I can make these work. These were, and they're all have individual prices on the back. So these were $15. And then I have these beautiful little pearly ones. I think these are so cute. I'm kind of hoping I can make these work. I'm kind of hoping I can make these work for the Lyrebird cardigan. We'll see if they work out. But these were $7. And then I got these like platinum ones. I think these are just super cool. And these cost me $9. So I picked up these 3 little cards of buttons. That was a really cute booth, I will say. So those were all of the notions that I got. Next, we are moving on to the yarn, the star of the show. Let's start with minis because I did make a few mini skein purchases. The very first one is from the Scranton Stitcher. So these 2 just caught my eye. I don't know the colorway names for these 2. And they retailed for $7 each, but I just thought that they made a nice pair together. At first I was thinking they would pair well for like a stripy sock situation. But then on Sunday, I went over to Explore Knits and Fibers. I hadn't gone to them on Saturday because their booth was quite full pretty much the entire day. And also I do have some Explorer Knits yarn that I'm still working my way through. So I wanted to finish up some of that first and, you know, try other yarn brands at Flock. But I saw they had minis and I could not resist. I thought this was a perfect way to just pick up something from the booth without having to have like a big project quantity. So these I actually do know the names for. So this is Beet Juice. This is the iconic pink. I really like this one. This is Bluebird Day, which is a really cute like periwinkle. And then this purple one is called Butterfly Pea. So I think these coordinate really well. So when I had gotten these, I kind of figured, I think I have enough. And these, let me try it. And these 3 that I have up here, this is not the best way of showing it. I'm kind of thinking, I think I have enough to make a Kintra sweater by Rebecca Clow. So that's a possibility. I know Rebecca did announce in her podcast that she's making a Kintra accessory set for her winter charity pattern. So I'm going to wait for her to release that and see if I want to do the accessories, if I want to do the sweater. But I think this little set that I have going here would work really well for a sweater of that nature. And then I do have one more of the Explorer minis were $8. And then I have one more little mini set. And this one is a little bit different. So this one is from Superglow. So the booth from Superglow was super cute. Of course, nice, bright neon. They had their Lafufu collection, which was inspired by Labubus. And they have all the little Labubu colors with their little knitting needles they were knitting away. I thought that was so cute. And I ended up picking a couple of minis as well. So these are the Neo Sock Minis. So they're 85 Superwash, 15 Neon Donegal Neps. So this is like a neon tweed type of deal. And I got like the yellowy green and the pinky coral one. Now these kind of don't necessarily go with the vibe of the other ones. So these actually are going to be for a pair of stripy socks. I think I have a pattern in mind. I don't remember. I'll put it over here. It's a sock pattern by Sari Nordlund. That's a potential. Or perhaps like some ribbed striped socks, kind of like the vintage athletic ones. I don't have a specific pattern in mind, but we'll see. But these will definitely be for socks. And with that, we will move into our big yarn, our full skein purchases. So when I was purchasing these, I was gonna, find some white sock yarn to use with it. And I just so happened to stumble upon this baby. This cone is from Wool and Friends. So they were kind of like a weaving station, and they also had cone yarns that they were selling. So this is actually Retrosaria Rosa Pomar Mondim, which is a really popular, at least popular in my mind, popular Portuguese wool yarn. It's a fingering weight, and even though it doesn't have any nylon in it, it is pretty popular for socks, and I can see why. It definitely has that texture and that grip that you want in a sock wool for it to, you know, hold up over time. And this is a really big cone. So I did the math. It is 950 yards, which according to the Mondim label, it should be about 225 grams. So this retailed for $32, which I think was a really, really good price, especially when you compare it to the fact that most of the vendors had hand-dyed yarn, which is generally a lot more expensive than commercial yarn. So I'm going to be using this not only for the neon sock that I have planned, but I have also been collecting sock scraps to make the Drifter socks by Saskie and Co. So I think that this would be a good main color, and I'm sure many socks will come out of this cone. For my single skein purchases, I have this one here. This is from Ocean Fibers. So I have never seen their yarn or purchased from them before, but they had a beautiful, beautiful booth with this pretty neon sign that you could take some pictures at. All of their vibe is ocean, because I learned that the owner, I think her name is Vanessa, is actually a full-time marine biologist. You know how everybody as a kid says that we're going to be marine biologists, but no one actually turns out to be a marine biologist? Well, this is the first time I've actually met someone who is a marine biologist. So this is super, super cool. This is the color Green Flash in the Serena sock, which is 80 superwash merino, 10 cashmere, 10 nylon. And this is 437 yards for 100 grams. It's a 4-ply. So this is going to become a beanie because it is just too soft and beautiful for socks. So this is going to be the Brownstone beanie by Tori. I think it'll make a beautiful bright accessory for the winter time. So that is my plan for that one. And this one cost me $30. Next, for single skeins, I have this beauty from Camellia Fiber Co. So I did not go to Camellia on Saturday. I ended up going on Sunday, just because it had passed my mind on Saturday. But this is a yarn that really just stood out to me, and I was like, I have to buy it. I only got one skein because, again, this was my very last purchase on Sunday, and I just simply could not spend any more money. I couldn't do it. So I just got a single skein. This is their Somme DK. This is 42 baby alpaca, 8% merino, 50% Pima cotton. And I figured I can make, and the color is blue iris. So I figured I could make a beautiful little neck scarf. I was thinking one of the Sari Nordlund scarflets. The Venilia shawl looks really cute, but I didn't realize that this is 50 grams. Sorry, that's my boy Eddie. This is a 50 gram skein, not 100 grams. So now I have to see if this is going to be enough. I don't know, but I'm sure I'll find a use for it, just like as a nice little neck accessory. It is really soft and nice. So that is what I got from Camellia. And then I have a sock set from ZZ Textiles. So I'm going to move into my ZZ and my Witchfire purchase because they shared a booth together. And they were the loveliest ladies. I got to hug them and I got to say hi to Jess. I did her oracle reading, which is where these mini skeins came from. And I had such a beautiful experience. I was so excited to meet them in person. Witchfire is one of my favorite hand-dyed yarns. So it was a really special moment for me. And I went back at the end of the day and took a picture with them. Rachel from ZZ Textiles had a dress that she made in her yak silk base. It was beautiful. They were just lovely people. I cannot say how lovely they were. So I will definitely continue to purchase more yarns from them in the future. So one of the things that I picked up from Rachel at ZZ Textiles is this sock set. This is her Albertirichel. LB. She says L. It's called LB for short. So this is the LB sock set, and this is her silk sock. So 80 superwash merino, 20 silk. And then the minis, this is the color Petrichor. and this is the color Wood Paneled. Now, I actually really like the contrast that this one provides with these two for a sock. This one might be going into my Kintra now that I think about it, but we'll see. I could easily get 2 pairs of socks if I decide to use both of the minis. I thought this was really cute, and the sock set cost me a total of $46. So this moves into the sweater quantities that I purchased. So I got 3 sweater quantities, all in fingering weight, which for my size is 300 grams. So this is the first one that I got, and this one is from Yeji. So this is the yak silk base in the color Wood Paneled, which is the same color that this little mini is in. So the base is 65% superwash merino, 20% silk, 15% yak, and it is a 3-ply with 438 yards to it. This is just the beautifulest, moody, rich fall, winter color. Oh my God, this is beautiful. I'm going to be making a fingering weight version of the Firth sweater that Rebecca Clow will be releasing in September, if I'm not mistaken. I love that she likes to provide dual gauge for a lot of her patterns, so I'll be making the fingering weight. And this one was slightly pricey. It's a slightly pricier base. This one cost $36 for each skein, so it was a little bit pricier, but that is okay. And I did get a free tote from Yeji because my purchase was over $100, so I got a nice little tote here. So I will definitely be using that as a project bag. So I want to say Yeji was probably my largest purchase. I also had to make a purchase from Witchfire Fibers, and she had the base that I was looking for. This is the Lithia fingering base, which is 25% merino, 37% Pima cotton, and 38% baby alpaca, 437 yards in 100 grams. So I picked up 3 of these, and this color is called Boundaries. So it is a slightly lighter green than I usually go for, and it has some tones of like gray and tan in there. This one will be for a cardigan. So I will be making the Deuxieme. I asked Google how to pronounce it, and now I forgot again. Deuxieme cardigan by Tamara Jordan. And that cardigan is made with DK weight yarn. The gauge is 24 stitches, but this is like a really sturdy, as you can see, it's not like draping or anything. So I think this will actually hold up well. I think I'll be able to meet gauge. So that is the plan for this sweater quantity. Oh, and in Witchfires, I also got a free bag from Jess because also my purchase was like a couple cents short of $100. So I got a free beautiful little holographic bag that will also again be a project bag. So I ended up with 2 free bags, which is great. I didn't have to purchase any on my own. So my last sweater quantity is from Pigment and Ply. I really wanted to try something out from them. They are a UK British brand, so it is a little bit harder for me to be able to order from them overseas, especially now. So I really wanted to make sure to pick something up from them. They had a lot of really beautiful bases, and the owner was so lovely, and just hearing her speak with her British accent was so cool. I thought it was lovely. She had really beautiful colors, really beautiful bases. I was having a hard time kind of figuring out what to get, but as soon as I touched this one, I knew this was the one. This is their alpaca silk cashmere, which is 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, and 20% cashmere, and it has 437 yards in 100 grams. This is the color Lavender Haze, and oh my God, this is the drapiest thing. It is so soft and beautiful on the skin. Oh my goodness. So when I first went, I just picked up one skein. I figured I can make a scarf or something out of it. But after walking around for a minute and just like touching the yarn, it's like, I need more. I went back and I purchased 2 more so that I can actually make a long sleeved garment out of. And I was going back and forth as to what to make with this. So I have kind of decided on the Ola Sweater from Irene Lin, but I'm not 100% committed to it yet. And of course, any plan is subject to change. But I was thinking something very drapey, perhaps a little bit lacy. I don't think that this has enough structure to hold up cables. So if you have any pattern ideas for this one, feel free to leave any suggestions. But this one, it's so beautiful. And the color is so nice. This one is sold in British pounds. It's 25 British pounds. So with a conversion, it was a little bit hard for me to figure out kind of how much this one cost. But my guesstimate is $33 to $34 per skein. So this was my last full sweater quantity. And then I did get a few plant-based kind of like t-shirt quantities. First off, I have the ever so popular Wandering Flock Cotton Lino. My bands are a little crushed because I did vacuum seal my yarn to bring it back in my luggage. But this is the cotton lino, which is the 35% organic cotton, 30% mulberry silk, 20% linen, 15% baby alpaca, sport weight, 328 yards for 100 grams. So of all the yarns, I think this is the hardest one for me to choose a color for. For most of the yarns, I know what I want. As soon as I see the color, I was like, this is the one. I'm not very indecisive. But this one, I had a really hard time. I didn't know if I wanted the olive. Did I want the lavender? Did I want the navy? So I went back and forth for a minute, but I ended up choosing the navy color. Let me make sure it's called navy, actually. Yeah, the color is called navy. So this one, I am planning on making the Laulu V-neck tee from Sari Nordlund. And yeah, this is a very, I'm excited to try this one because it seems to be a very well-loved yarn. And each skein cost $26. My next plant yarn purchase was from, well, the next two are from Terrapin. And this is actually the last vendor that I purchased that I have here to share with you. So Terrapin is a plant-based yarn dyer. So she does 100% vegan or plant-based yarns. And I purchased 2 top quantities from her. So this very first one is on her Harbor base, which is 70% organic cotton, 30% linen, which is 437 yards per 100 grams. And this is the color Marion Berry. Is that correct? Marion Berry. Yeah, Marion Berry, super bright, punchy, magenta, purpley color. I really like this color on my skin tone. And this is somewhat similar to the popular Ritual Dyes Undine. I did go to their booth and touch the Undine, and it definitely felt a little bit drier than this one because it has more of a linen. It has a higher linen cotton. I believe it's 40% cotton, 60% linen. So this one has a little bit more cotton, which definitely makes it a little bit softer, and hopefully that'll be like a nice hand feel to work with. This one, it will be the Woollahra tee. No, that's not how you pronounce it. I also asked Google how to pronounce it. Woollahra. Woollahra tee from Marzena Kolaczek, which is a really cute lacy short sleeve t-shirt. So I'm excited for this one. And this one cost $27 per skein. And then I picked up one more top quantity from her. I tried out a different base. This one is the Kent fingering base, which is 60% organic Pima cotton, 40% tencel. Also same yardage, 437 yards per 100 grams. Now I have never worked with tencel. This will be the very first time. She did have a 100% tencel yarn there that looked so beautiful because it was very shiny, kind of like a full mulberry silk. But I was kind of scared that I would have a hard time working with the tencel and getting the right pattern to help with the structure of the garment. So I decided to go for the blended one instead. And this is the color Evergreen. Also, I think it's a really nice color. It's like a dark piney green. Very, very evergreen for sure. This one doesn't have a pattern chosen out for it. I'll see whatever summer t-shirt strikes my fancy next summertime, but very wearable. And those were all the yarns that I purchased. I purchased a lot of yarn. A few other booths that I want to mention. Sorella, of course, is a really popular one. They had their home line there at the festival, which is like their mill dyed yarn. That was actually really nice. I liked some of the colors. I didn't end up picking any up. Spin Cycle, I had already seen their yarn at the, both at Shop and Mercery and at the Lamb and Kid on Bainbridge, so I didn't really spend too much time there. But their yarns, of course, are beautiful, but they are so expensive. I saw some ladies walking out with full sweater quantities, and I was like, oh my god, that's a lot. But that was also a beautiful booth. Of course, there were the sheep. They were the star of the shows at the festival. Their names were Andora. Is it Andora? They were both E's. I'll put their names up there, but they were black nose Willais. They were so cute, and they were from Wild Rose Sheep Farm. Other vendors, those are the main vendors that come to mind. Ritual Dyes was also a really good one. I didn't end up purchasing anything from them, but overall it was a really good experience. I feel like it was a good variety of notions, like stitch markers, pottery, project bags, of course yarn. There was also a lot of fiber, so I think there was like a good variety. So overall, the festival was just 10 out of 10, like 11 out of 10. The organizers did an incredible job. Everything was so smooth. There were no issues, at least that I was perceiving or that I was aware of. It was just, this is a trip that I will remember for many a time to come, especially because I won't be attending any more festivals or fiber events this year, and it's very unlikely that I will be able to go to any next year. So I definitely cherish this, and I have enough yarn to work through for the next several months. So the final numbers, how much did I spend that flock? The answer is a lot. I spent a lot of money, but the actual total was $1,070. Everything that includes everything that I talked about today, from my mother's towel to Bainbridge to everything. Of that, 100 were gifts. So $100 of those were not for me. The yarn was $810 and the notions were $160. So yes, that is a lot of money. When I added it up, I was like, holy moly. But the budget is okay. I am financially okay. It's not going to devastate me, and I regret nothing. Every dollar was well spent, and if you ever have a chance and the means to do this, even if you don't spend or purchase as much as I did, you don't have to do this. And that's another thing that I noticed. A lot of like the repeat goers definitely did not purchase a ton of yarn. They focused more on like pretty project bags or like a little pair of scissors or bandanas or little things like that. And I definitely noticed us fresh new festival goers definitely went heavy on the yarn. So you don't have to spend this much money to participate in a fiber event. Even just going for the community aspect of it is absolutely incredible. So that is all I have for you today. I am so happy that the time has come for me to actually make this video. I'm going to reorganize my board with all these new yarns, and I'm just going to knit my little heart away. Thank you so much for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me. Feel free to leave any comments, any thoughts down below. I love getting to chat with you guys in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if it was enjoyable for you, and until the next one. Bye.